Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something tonight. Don't be fooled by a man's silence. Just because he's not calling, not texting, not showing up at your door every day, doesn't mean he has moved on. Nah. Silence is tricky. Silence will fool you if you don't understand it. Because sometimes silence ain't about letting go. It's about holding on so tight, he can't even put it into words. Silence is one of the most misunderstood things in a relationship. People assume that if someone isn't talking, if they're not reaching out, if they're not posting about you, then it must mean they've moved on. But that's not the truth. Silence doesn't always mean absence. In fact, more times than you think, silence is proof of presence. Silence is proof of obsession, because when someone can't let go of you, they may not always have the words, but they'll carry you everywhere they go in that quiet space inside of them. Now, here's what you need to understand about men. Men are wired differently. When women hurt, they often reach out. They'll call a friend, pour it out, talk it out, get it out of their system. But a man will pull back. He'll retreat into his silence. He'll shut the world out because he doesn't want to show his vulnerability. And when you see that, you might think, well, he must be done with me. He must be over it. But deep down in that silence, he's still carrying you. He's still obsessing over you. Think about it. You ever notice how a man will stop calling, stop texting, but he'll still find a way to check up on you? He's looking at your social media. He's scrolling through your pictures. He's watching your every move, even if he doesn't double tap that photo. He sees you laughing with your friends. He sees you looking good, and trust me, it does something to him. That silence he's keeping on the outside doesn't mean he's not invested. It means he can't put into words how much it bothers him to not have you close anymore. Silence becomes a hiding place for men. It's where they go when the weight of what they feel is too heavy to say out loud. And the crazy thing is, you're probably thinking, he's at peace while he's quiet. But that's the opposite of what's happening. In his quiet moments, he's reliving the last conversation you had. He's thinking about what he could have said differently. He's replaying the arguments, the laughter, the little things you thought he didn't even notice. Silence for a man is not empty, it's full of you. And here's where obsession comes in. See, obsession doesn't always look loud. It doesn't always look like chasing, begging, or blowing up your phone. Sometimes obsession is quiet. It's him waking up in the morning, grabbing his phone, and before he even checks his email, he's on your page. Sometimes obsession is driving by places he knows you like to go, hoping by chance he sees you. Sometimes obsession is sitting at a dinner table with his friends, and while everybody's laughing and joking, he's sitting there zoned out, thinking about you. He may be silent, but he's not absent. You're still right there. When a man is truly obsessed, silence is his cover. He may not tell you how much he misses you, but it shows in how he can't detach himself from your presence. He may not admit how much he wants you back, but he's still measuring every woman he meets against you. And let me tell you, when that happens, nobody else stands a chance. He's quiet, but you're still in his system. That silence is not about indifference. It's about being overwhelmed. It's about a man who doesn't know how to put into words the depth of what you mean to him. That's why I always tell people, don't be fooled by the silence. Don't think just because a man isn't knocking on your door, he's not thinking about you. Silence can be louder than a shout. Silence can tell you more about his feelings than any sweet words could. A man who is obsessed with you may go quiet, but in that quiet, you are everywhere. As much as he tries to hide it, as much as he wants you to think he's moved on, his silence is giving him away. Men and women are built different when it comes to emotions. That's something you got to understand if you really want to know what's going on behind a man's silence. See, when a woman hurts, when she's missing somebody, when she's confused about her feelings, she'll talk. She'll call her sister, her best friend, her mama, anybody who listens, and she'll pour her heart out. She'll cry, she'll vent, she'll replay every little detail until it feels lighter. That's her process. That's how she gets some of the weight off her chest. But a man don't do it that way. A man processes emotions in silence, in withdrawal, in that space where he shuts everybody out. But don't get it twisted. Just because he's quiet, that don't mean he lets you go. What happens with men is they hold it all in. Society taught men from a young age, don't cry, don't complain, don't show weakness. So when a man is hurt or when he's obsessed with somebody he can't shake, he don't go around broadcasting it, he internalizes it. He puts on that tough exterior like nothing's bothering him. He might be sitting with his boys, laughing, talking, playing cards, but when he gets home, he lays in that bed and it hits him. That's when the silence gets loud. That's when he starts replaying everything in his mind, thinking about what you said, thinking about what he didn't say, thinking about what he lost. And here's the truth. You might think because he's not showing up at your job, because he's not calling nonstop, because he ain't begging, that he's over you. But the reality is he's processing. He's sitting with his feelings, trying to make sense of them. And obsession is sneaky. It'll creep into his everyday life without him even realizing it. He'll be eating dinner and suddenly remember how he used to cook his favorite dish. He'll hear a song on the radio and it'll take him straight back to that night y'all spent together. He'll smell a perfume in the store and instantly feel that ache in his chest. That's that not letting go. That's not moving on. That's obsession living inside of silence. When a man processes emotions, he rarely talks about it, but it shows up in his actions. He'll watch your social media, but won't leave a comment. He'll drive by a place he knows you love just to feel a piece of you. He'll bring your name up casually in conversation with a friend, pretending it's no big deal, but really he's fishing for any news about you. You may not hear from him, but he's keeping tabs on you. He's carrying you in a way that words can't explain. And here's what makes it even deeper. When a man is obsessed, he can meet 10 different women and still not feel satisfied. Because every single one of them will get compared to you. You become the measuring stick. And when they don't measure up, he falls silent again because he knows he's still not over you. Now, let me be clear about something. Men might process differently, but silence is not healing. Silence is not peace. Silence is pressure. It's a storm inside his chest. That quiet exterior is like a mask, but behind it is a man still tied to you emotionally. He may look calm, but he's wrestling with his pride, with his ego, with his feelings, trying to figure out how he lost what he still wants. And even when he tells himself he's done, his actions betray him. But the truth is, when a man is obsessed, it's not easy to let go. That silence is just a holding place for emotions he can't control. So don't misinterpret a man's process. Don't think just because he ain't crying to you or confessing his feelings out loud that you've been erased from his heart. Men don't process like that. They sit in their silence. They live in their quiet. And in that space, you're still alive in him. His pride may not let him show it. His silence may make you question it. But make no mistake, when a man has been deeply connected to you, silence doesn't mean he's over it. It means he's still carrying it, still wrestling with it, still obsessed in a way he can't put into words. A lot of people look at silence as a sign that somebody has checked out, that they've moved on, that they don't care anymore. But the truth is, silence can be one of the strongest ways a man holds on to what he can't let go of. When a man is quiet, when he stops speaking, when he pulls back into himself, it doesn't always mean the love is gone. Sometimes silence is his last way of holding you close, his last way of staying connected without saying a single word. Men are not always good with words when it comes to emotions. You ever notice that? A woman will tell you straight up how she feels, good, bad, happy, angry. She'll put it all out there. But a man, even when he's deeply in love, even when he's hurting, will struggle to say it out loud. That's not because he doesn't feel it. It's because the feeling is so heavy, so overwhelming, that he doesn't know how to let it out without exposing all the parts of himself he tries to keep hidden. So instead, he goes silent. And that silence is not about pushing you away. It's about holding you close in a way that nobody else can see. Think about it. A man might not be blowing up your phone, but he's still thinking about what you're doing every single day. He might not be writing you long messages, but he remembers your birthday, your laugh, the way you fold your arms when you're upset. He carries those things in silence because they matter to him. That silence is him replaying your voice in his head when he's driving to work. It's him hearing your laugh when he's sitting in a quiet room. That silence is not empty. It's filled with you. Sometimes silence is a man's way of protecting what he feels. Words can be dangerous. Words can make him vulnerable. Words can give you power over him. And a man doesn't always want to hand that over, especially when he doesn't know where he stands with you. So instead of saying, I can't stop thinking about you, or I miss you every day, he holds it in. His silence becomes his shield, but it's also the rope that ties him to you. A man's silence can also be a way of keeping hope alive. If he speaks too soon, if he begs too hard, he risks pushing you away. So he waits. He holds on quietly, watching from a distance, waiting for a moment when maybe, just maybe, the door opens again. He may never admit it, but he checks in subtle ways. He notices if you changed your hairstyle, if you posted a picture with somebody new, if you're smiling a little differently. He reads into every detail, but he never says a word. That's his silence speaking. That's his obsession showing itself without sound. And here's the thing about silence. It doesn't stop the feelings. Silence can make the feeling stronger. Because when a man doesn't release what's inside him, it builds up. He'll go about his day, handle his business, laugh with his friends, but in the back of his mind, you're still there. The silence becomes a place where you live rent-free. And the more he tries not to think about you, the louder that silence gets. It's his way of holding you, of keeping you with him, even if he can't reach out. You can tell a lot about a man's silence if you look closely. He may not say your name, but he still brings you up in little ways. He may not call, but his friends know he's still thinking about you. He may not send you a message, but you can bet he's looking at your picture, sitting there in the quiet, remembering. His silence is not absence. It's not a wall. It's him holding on in the only way he knows how. That's why I always say, don't underestimate a man's quiet. A man's silence can be the loudest confession of all. It can be his way of saying, I still need you. I still love you. I still can't let you go, without putting any of it into words. Sometimes the most powerful way a man holds on is not by what he says, but by the silence he keeps. Obsession is a tricky thing because people think it's always loud. They think it shows up in the form of long talks, constant calls, begging, or dramatic confessions. But the truth is, obsession doesn't always use words. Obsession has a way of slipping through the cracks of everyday life, showing itself in little actions that are louder than any speech a man could give. You don't have to hear it for it to be real. You just have to watch. Because when a man is obsessed, his actions will betray him every single time. A man might stop calling you, but he'll never stop checking up on you. He'll scroll through your social media late at night, looking at every picture, reading between the lines of every post, wondering who you're with and what you're feeling. He won't leave a comment, won't like a photo, but you better believe he's watching. That's obsession. That's action without conversation. He doesn't have to say a word because the fact that he can't resist keeping up with you already tells the story. And it doesn't stop there. Obsession shows up when he casually drives by the places he knows you love. Maybe he passes by your favorite coffee shop or the restaurant you two used to go to, hoping he might catch a glimpse of you. He'll act like he's just out running errands, but deep down, he's placing himself in your world without you even knowing. That's an action that speaks volumes. That's not coincidence. That's obsession moving his steps, even when his mouth stays shut. Obsession is in the way he brings your name up when he doesn't have to. He might be talking to his friends and say, yeah, she used to like that, or she always laughed at stuff like this. He'll throw your name into the mix as if it just slipped out, but that's not casual. That's his heart reminding him you're still there. Words don't have to be confessions to be revealing. When a man is obsessed, you show up in his conversations, even when he swears he's moved on. It's also in the way he measures everyone else against you. He might meet somebody new, go on a date, even spend time with another woman, but somewhere in his mind, he's holding her up against you. How she talks compared to you, how she looks compared to you, how she makes him feel compared to you. That's not something he's going to admit, but his actions give it away. When nothing feels right, when nobody else measures up, that's obsession. It shows up, not because he says, I miss her, but because his behavior proves he can't replace you. And you know what else? Obsession is in the slip-ups. He'll call somebody by your name by accident. He'll mention something you love without even realizing he said it. He'll keep something you gave him, maybe a shirt, maybe a note, maybe a little gift, and he won't get rid of it. It'll sit there in his drawer or on his shelf because letting it go feels too final. Those are not just habits, those are actions fueled by obsession. Even in silence, his obsession leaks out in body language. If he happens to see you, notice how he can't help but look a little longer than he should. Notice how he shifts his posture, how his voice changes, how he pays closer attention. He may not walk up and confess anything, but his actions are telling on him. His eyes are telling on him.